In this video, I'm going to show you how to convince your boss or company to let you work from home. I'm Sam Lepak, the founder of New Rich Nomads, the place where individuals go to find the secrets and shortcuts to maximize their work from home and travel lifestyle. And if you're looking for frameworks and scripts to help you get approval to work from home, then you'll love this video. Keep watching. Before I begin, you may be wondering why I'm qualified to talk about this topic. Well, if so, then I'm happy to share that after multiple failed attempts, I was able to convince my boss to let me work from home with this exact proven method. If you want to know more about my story, there's a link in the video description. Additionally, if videos are not your thing, then go ahead and get a copy of the free book, How to Convince Your Boss to Let You Work From Home. This free book will go into 10 times more details than this video with several statistics and examples as well. It's also linked in the video description too, and again, it's free. Okay, so now that you know where you can access those free resources, I want to share some important context for this video. The first thing is that I found the most effective way to convince your boss to let you work from home is to smash the like button for the YouTube algorithm and ring the notification bell to get reminded of new videos. Okay, all jokes aside, the best way to get approval to work from home is by having a one-on-one conversation with your boss that is guided with a PowerPoint or Google Slide presentation. That said, everything we're going to go through today is going to help you set up and have that conversation with your boss along with creating your presentation. Inside this video, we're going to go through the following things. First, how to ask your boss to actually work from home. Second, company benefits. Third, fears and objections your boss may have. 4, companies with work from home policies. 5, how working from home will actually work. 6, the presentation. 7, the conversation with your boss. And 8, the outcome of your meeting. Before we discuss these topics, it's critical to equip you with the ideal mindset when approaching to the request to work from home. And that mindset is to show that working from home will not only help you grow, but the company as well. This is what's known as a company-first approach. Furthermore, when it comes to convincing your boss or company to let you work from home, I've found the best way to get approval is by playing into their ego. We're going to stroke their ego by showing them the following things. 1, that you love your job. 2, you love working for that company. And 3, you have a plan to become a better employee, aka your presentation. Okay, now let's walk through these elements of the conversation and presentation. Okay, first up is how to actually ask to work from home. Both in the conversation and the presentation, it's important to make it clear that you're asking this right away, because it's important to be radically honest. Powerful phrases to tell your boss that you want to work from home are, I believe I would positively impact the company by working from home because of X, Y, and Z, right? Insert a reason. Second, I'm confident that allowing me to work from home will help the company do X, Y, and Z. From my experience, it's best to put this as your second or third slide in your presentation after an intro and agenda slide. Okay. Next up are company benefits of you working from home. It's no secret, but in a negotiation, everyone wants to feel like they won. You can make your boss feel like they've won by telling them all the benefits the company will receive when you're working from home. In other words, we will give them several reasons that your boss can use to rationalize to themselves and others, if needed, on how this is a smart decision for the company to let you work from home. Okay, the first benefit to the company is saving time and money. By allowing employees to work from home, companies can save money on several different things, such as commuting costs, work vehicles, mileage reimbursement, office space, work equipment, company entertainment, such as events, meals, catering, food, paying for sick days, health benefit plans, and phone plans, and so much more. From another time-saving viewpoint, instead of commuting to and from the office, that extra time can be spent doing something much more meaningful, such as working more, or a hobby, or spending more time with family. The next company benefit is increased employee productivity. Companies with work from home policies on average find their employees take less sick days. More specifically, there are 63 fewer unscheduled absences from work from home employees compared to in-office employees. Okay, another big productivity drainer is office distractions. They can easily ruin your focus, causing you to be unproductive. All right, another company benefit is improved employee recruitment and retention. According to the Wall Street Journal, it costs upwards of twice an employee's salary to find and train a replacement. In turn, it can damage morale among remaining employees. What this really means is that it's expensive to hire and train new employees, and even fire them too, but that's another story. One tactic for retaining top talent and attracting top talent is by offering employees the ability to work from home. Also, when a company allows its employees to work from anywhere, they can also hire from anywhere too. And to back it up with numbers, according to the Global Workplace Analytics, 95% of employers say telework has a high impact on employee retention. Now let's talk about employee empowerment. Let me take a wild guess. At one time in your career, you've had a boss who's micromanaged you, and it's not fun. But by working from home, it forces your company to let you be independent and self-directed, which usually results in a decrease in micromanagement and an increase in employee empowerment in the long run. And empowering employees improves their accountability, their communication effort, and their motivation. So it's a big win. Okay, last up, it's no secret. Poor work-life balance negatively impacts employees' health and their happiness. Less control over this balance can lead to more stress and employee turnover. On average, work-from-home employees report a better work-life balance as the top reason they work from home. Having this autonomy and flexibility over work and personal schedules allows employees to manage their responsibilities effectively and avoid getting burned out. Okay, at this point, you should have enough company benefits to add into your slide. If you need a few more talking points to push your boss over the edge, there are a few extra resources linked in the video description. Next up, we're going to talk about how to overcome your boss's fears and objections. You've probably heard it before, but it's normal to fear change. Fear is the primary culprit that stops people from taking action and achieving their desires and dreams. And it's the number one reason that stops bosses and companies from letting employees work from home. Essentially, they say no based out of fear. So that leaves us with, how do we help our boss overcome these fears? The best strategy I've found to overcome these fears is to bring up these fears before they're realized and share thoughtful, pre-planned solutions. Thinking proactively about your boss's biggest fears and how to solve them is one of the most critical parts of your conversation and presentation. It shows that you're serious about working from home. Okay, now it's time to discuss some of the most common objections and fears and how to overcome them. The first fear is not having a work from home policy or experience. Due to COVID, the majority of companies at some point have been forced to have their employees work from home. If this was you, great. Use this experience to show your boss you can work from home again. If your company did not allow work from home during COVID or before, don't panic. Instead, ask yourself, does anyone at the company right now work from home? Or has anyone in the past? If someone has already gained approval, they will be your best advocate. Talk to them and leverage their success as yours. If no one has worked from home or there's no company policy, you're still okay. We have two options to solve this. First option is to share successful companies in your industry that also have work from home policies. Or second, propose that you working from home will be a trial run for the company. Okay, the next fear is in-office responsibilities. Simply put, this is the ability to reduce the need to do in-office tasks. The best way to do this is to first make a bullet point list of what you're responsible for at your job. Second, split this list into in-office activities and then also work from home ones. Then, write down alternative solutions to these in-office responsibilities. A few ways to think about potential solutions for these in-office responsibilities are, can someone else temporarily take over that responsibility? Can I delegate that to someone else? Or perhaps trade that responsibility with someone or something else? There's a high probability that almost all in-office responsibilities can be solved. And if worse comes to worse, an alternative solution is to ask your boss to remove it from your plate altogether. Okay, now let's discuss the fear of work from home management systems. It's no secret, what gets measured gets managed. And productivity is often measured to ensure that employees are working. Software tools are commonly used to measure productivity and work from home employees. Common tools include project management, CRMs, workspace communication, and time tracking. If you've used any of these tools before, great. If not, don't worry. There are several free and easy solutions to use. The most popular solutions to use are Asana, Toggl, and Status Hero. Note, it's helpful to have a baseline before asking to work from home. This way you can compare previous work periods. So if you don't have a baseline, it's best to use one of these tools to get started. I personally recommend using Toggl. All right, now let's talk about fairness. The fear of fairness is quite common, and it can sometimes make for an awkward or frustrating situation. It may be hard to believe, but bosses and companies actually worry about what other employees might think if you're able to work from home and they aren't. To overcome this fear, we're going to arm your boss with the viewpoint that you working from home is a trial run for others in the future who also may deserve this opportunity. It's essential that you work with your boss to define the success criteria for this trial run. This is where your productivity system will come into play. Okay, the next fear is data security and privacy. This primarily means having a secure connection and data privacy. Chances are you've probably had or will have to use a virtual private network, aka VPN. There are many VPNs out there, and they're simple to use. The best one that I've personally found and used is ExpressVPN. ExpressVPN is a paid VPN, but there are also many free VPNs as well. As for secure file sharing, you can't go wrong with a cloud-based solution such as Google Drive, Dropbox, or OneDrive. These file storage softwares are great for sharing and collaborating, whether it be online or offline and on the go with their mobile apps. If there are any other security or privacy issues that you may face, it's best to speak with an IT team member. All right, the next fear is client interest/meetings. In other words, what if you have in-person meetings with clients or external relationships? If this relates to you, it's essential to set expectations with them by having a separate conversation after getting approval to work from home from your boss. The majority of the time, your client will be excited for you and ask how you got approval to work from home. Heck, they'll probably be even a bit jealous and say they wish they could do the same. If so, don't worry, send them this video. Anyways, the takeaway here is that you only want to bring in your clients into this decision process when appropriate. Okay, now it's time to discuss the legal, tax, and visa concerns. All right, so a lot of people get hung up on this. Am I gonna have to pay foreign taxes or my company? And to be clear, I'm not a lawyer, I'm not an accountant, so I can't give professional advice. Although, here's how I would think about it. Think of a time where you took a phone call or wrote a work email from home or another state or a country, like going on vacation and bringing your laptop to do some work. It's essentially the same thing. As long as you're not going into another country and taking away work from a local, you should be fine. On a separate note, make sure you're paying attention to tourist visa restrictions for your countries you plan to travel to. That's on you, not your company. To help out with that, I recommend using one of the most up-to-date visa and travel restriction resources for US citizens. It's called travel.state.gov, country travel information. It's linked in the description. If unable to find the information you're looking for, I recommend emailing your home country's embassy in that desired country. From my experience, embassies have been known to reply to email in 24 to 48 hours. Okay, now let's move on to time zone differences. If you plan to work from home and travel, then time zone differences might be a legitimate fear. It usually sounds something to the tune of 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time is what time in Lisbon? Or when will you be online? Or you may hear, will you be working while we're working? The secret here to overcoming this fear is set expectations with visual help. More specifically, a timetable of overlapping work hours. I highly recommend using and bookmarking the tool TimeBuddy, clock and time zone converter, to help out with this. Its carefully thought out design lets you effortlessly compare multiple time zones at a glance. Also, you can plan virtual phone calls, meetings, and view potential new location time zones. Okay, before we move on to social proof, it's important at this point of the conversation and presentation to make sure to ask your boss, do you have any other concerns that we have not addressed or solved yet? This will help your boss voice any other fears and objections they might have about you working from home. Once they're done sharing, remember, use the company first approach and discuss potential solutions to their concerns. Even if you aren't able to come up with a good answer on the spot, don't make one up. Instead, tell your boss you'll follow up on their concern soon after the meeting. Remember, it's all about talking through these fears and objections, listening to each other, and arriving at a solution together. Okay, now it's time to discuss companies with work from home policies. It's no surprise several successful companies, both big and small, that allow employees to work from home have the research and results to back it up. The best part, you get to leverage their results as social proof to convince your boss to let you work from home. Some of the top US companies that have work from home policies that you can leverage include Microsoft, Dell, GitHub, WordPress, Cisco, Galactic Fed. When looking at these companies, ask yourself, which companies in your industry allow employees to work from home? To make things easy, I've added a link in the video description with the top 100 companies with work from home jobs. Also, it should be noted that many of these companies use the work from home work perk as a recruiting advantage over their competitors. Your company could also leverage this too. All right, up next, setting expectations of what working from home will look like and how it'll actually work. The biggest thing when setting expectations is establishing a baseline / starting point for how working from home will work. This leads us to ask, what expectations should we set? Well, it depends. Essentially, the lifestyle you choose when working from home will determine the expectations you need to set. So you need to ask yourself, are you going to work from home and stay in one spot, or are you going to work from home and travel? Regardless of your lifestyle, you need to set the following expectations. First, how you will communicate. Second, work equipment and environment. Third, data security and privacy. And fourth, work hour availability. If you plan to travel, also set these expectations. First, how long and where you'll be traveling to. And second, a travel emergency plans. Lastly, we'll want to set the expectation of what success looks like when you're working from home. The first one is goals or success criteria. In other words, what's our main KPI? Second is evaluating the arrangement. Are we going to check in from time to time about this arrangement? And third, a trial period timeline. How long does this timeline look like? I found the most successful way to evaluate this arrangement is based on objective timelines and numbers. Therefore, when you're evaluating the arrangement, it's black and white if the arrangement worked or not. Okay, so at this point, we've gone through all the information necessary to put into your presentation. If you haven't started and want to accelerate your results, then make sure to grab a copy of my proven presentation template. Just click on the link in the video description to get your work from home presentation template now. Before we move on, I want to share a few quick recommendations on your presentation. First, use your company's branding, such as your logo, color schemes, font type. Additionally, use clear and concise bullet points that focus on the value your company / boss is going to receive. And third, add relevant images throughout to help emphasize and humanize the bullet points. As for practicing the presentation, there are several different tactics you can use. First, you can practice in front of a mirror. Second, you can present it to a friend or a family member and have them give you feedback. Or you can record yourself presenting and watch the replay to see where you can improve. Or my favorite, you can print out a picture of your boss, stick it on a wall, and pretend you're presenting to them. Additionally, these may sound like no-brainers, but it's critical to know when giving a presentation that you should speak at a normal conversational volume level, take your time, and speak clearly and concisely, and avoid looking and reading off the slides word for word. Okay, next up is the conversation with your boss. Okay, so there's 4 parts to this. First is setting up the conversation, second is having the meeting, and then third is ending the meeting, and then 4 is following up from that meeting. Let's dive into the first part. The first conversation should be with your boss or your direct manager. Getting your boss on board is essential. They will be your best advocate if additional approval is needed. The best way to set up this conversation is via email. This allows you to craftily word your email, give your boss time to digest and respond to the message, and have a communication paper trail. Additionally, a power move for setting up this meeting is to proactively send a calendar invite. Look at your boss's calendar and send it. Also, block off 1 hour for the meeting. Don't let your time restrict your conversation. Okay, when it comes to having the meeting, it's important to know that going into the meeting, remember to take a deep breath, and remember, you and your boss are on the same team in the meeting. It's just like any other conversation you've had with them. A few tactics to help calm the nerves before this conversation include just taking a nice smile, quick exercise that morning of, taking some deep breaths, doing some power poses or stances, and talking out loud beforehand. A few points to keep in mind to make your presentation effective and more of a conversation than a lecture include leading the conversation, making eye contact frequently, having a confident voice, taking pauses and not rushing, and not hiding any information. Also, asking if they have any questions along the way. While most of these might sound like proper presentation etiquette, that's great to hear because it means that you have high standards of a presentation. Okay, at the end of the meeting, it's important again to ask if they have any questions. If they do, go ahead and answer those questions and then create next steps for both parties to initiate action from this conversation. It might be hard to believe, but the follow-up is probably the most critical part of this conversation. The most effective way to follow up is within 24 to 48 hours after the meeting with some form of written communication, preferably email. Additionally, this follow-up email gives you the opportunity to do several different things. First, you can share materials from the meeting, such as the presentation. Second, you could follow up on any questions you didn't answer during the conversation. And third, you can restate next steps for both sides. If you send the message and don't hear anything back after 72 hours, then it's best to send a friendly nudge making the excuse that you wanted to confirm that they received your message. Okay, now it's up to your boss and your company to give you the final decision. And before we move on to the final decision, a friendly reminder that if you want any of the email scripts, templates, cheat sheets, etc., there's a link in the video description with everything for you and then a few extra bonuses too. Okay, now it's the moment we've all been waiting for, the decision from your boss. It's no secret that the 2 outcomes of your efforts are either approval or rejection from your company. And to be clear, rejection does not mean no forever. It's just a no for right now. So let's talk about how to handle these potential outcomes and next steps to take from them. If rejected, your initial reaction might be anger towards your boss. You might want to tell them you want to find a new job or you quit unless you can work from home. But the most important thing here is to not stress. Take a deep breath, and if faced with rejection, our next step should be to ask why. Figure out why and use good judgment to problem solve the issue. If this issue can't be solved, there are a few more options that I've seen work, but I personally wouldn't recommend. These options include approaching your boss as manager and explaining the situation to them, or telling your boss you're quitting unless you can work from home. Additionally, you can substitute compensation for the ability to work from home, or consider getting a new work from home job. Again, I don't recommend, but I have seen them work. On the other hand, if you got approval to work from home, I want to be the first one to say, congratulations, it's well earned and well deserved. Even if it's only a 2-week trial run, that's still a huge success. Now in the case that you are approved, all you have to do is be proactive and execute on the plan and expectations that you laid out. If you like this video, make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel right now. Just click on the subscribe button below this video. Also, if you want exclusive work from home and travel secrets that I only share with subscribers, head over to newrichnomads.com and join the newsletter. It's free. Okay, now I want to turn it over to you. What tactic from today's video are you going to try first? Are you going to try using the company first approach, or how about downloading the free work from home book? Either way, let me know by leaving a comment below. The first thing is that I found the most effective way to convince your boss to let you work from home is to smash the like button for the YouTube. And make sure to grab a copy of my proven